Hey y'all, I am nickietoups. I am a registered nurse, nursing home administrator, and a lifelong advocate for the elderly. I started out as a CNA, and let me tell you, I didn't just learn nursing CNA duties, I learned humanity. I learned to be humble. I learned to care. I developed a passion for the elderly, the frail, and the disabled like no other. So much so that I have been taking care of the elderly my entire adult life. CNA work taught me humanity. CNA work taught me how to love people that need us. CNA work taught me that people need people to survive. Sometimes we think we're independent and we don't need anybody. But when you take care of the elderly, the frail, and the disabled, it gives you a whole different perspective of life. Because if we live long enough, if we bless long enough, we will need care from someone else. It's a known fact. Living a long life is a blessing, but with long life comes caregivers. So today, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about caregiving in the nursing home, caregiving for the elderly, the tears, the exhaustion, the laughter, all the long nights working in a nursing home. That's what built me into the leader that I am today. I learned leadership starting out as a CNA, learning how to lead myself first. I learned leadership starting out as a CNA, learning how to lead myself first. I'll tell you a fun fact. As a young person being a CNA, when I told my coworkers I was going to go to nursing school and become an RN, I'll never forget a nurse in the corner of the med room said, they're going to eat you alive. Well, they've been trying to eat me alive ever since. But with a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and a lot of hard work, God has blessed me becoming a registered nurse, becoming a nursing home administrator. He has blessed me to do what I love every single day of my life. That's what I call a calling straight from God. God knows what He calls us to do, and I have found my calling in the nursing home. Leadership is not about titles or power. It's about people. It's about caring for people. I had to grow up and understand that becoming a leader meant leading myself first, loving people, caring for people. I had to learn that people have to like me to work with me. Leadership starts with you, leadership starts with me, then trickles down. I love to go back to the first book I ever read by John Maxwell, Leadership Goal. The very first chapter talks about mirror therapy. I'll never forget that. I read the book at the age of 26 years old, 25 years old. And when I read mirror therapy, the whole chapter over and over, because I understood that I had to bridle my mouth, control me, lead me before I could even think about leading anyone else. You see, in college, no one taught me leadership. I learned about assessments. I took a lot of English classes, a lot of math classes, but I never took a leadership class, how to lead others or how to even lead myself. All I knew in college was that I had to get to the ending to become a registered nurse. And that's what I want to talk about today, leadership. My very first weeks of working in a hospital, I worked in a geriatric behavior health unit as a mental health tech. That's where my career really began, as a geriatric mental health tech. I became a CNA through that process. I learned compassion, I learned love, I learned how to love the unlovable through those years. I learned who I was as a person and how much love I had for others. It wasn't always easy. It was hard. You know, we like to talk about the hard. The hard is caring for people, but not just caring for the elderly. It's hard to get along with a hospital, a nursing home, full of people. You see, co-workers could be complicated too. Not just our residents, not just our patients. Co-workers can be complicated. So, not only as a young person in healthcare did I have to learn to lead myself, I had to learn how to deal with others, coworkers, residents, and their families. That's a lot of work for a young person who barely knows how to even get out of bed in the morning and get to work on time. Long term care has taught me discipline, has taught me love. Long term care has taught me what it means to be a woman of God because I know that my hope comes from God, and God gave me the calling to care for the elderly, the frail, and the disabled. I realized that leadership doesn't start when you get the title. Leadership starts when you're down in the trenches, working day in and day out, caring for people. Titles are cheap. Titles don't mean anything except exactly what it is, a title. Leadership is servanthood. Leadership is influence. I've learned throughout the years by listening to lots of podcasts, listening to lots of speakers, reading lots of books, that real leadership is adding value to others. If I had to name one thing in the nursing home industry that holds us back, it's leadership. No one taught me leadership as a young DON. No one taught me leadership as an administrator. No one has taught me leadership ever. As a CNA, I always wanted to rise. But I had to learn that I had to be dedicated right where I was and stand and do my job day in and day out to become who I am today. The person that holds the title sometimes is the person that sets the mood for an entire nursing home. You see, I had a DON once upon a time, way back when, who would come in a bad mood, fussing, throwing things, and always set the stage for the entire building to be in a bad mood. As a young person, I thought that's how leaders acted. I thought that's how leadership was. You had to be in a bad mood, you had to be angry and very negative. I didn't know any better. You see, as a young person, I followed the way this person acted, not what she said. Unfortunately, when I became the leader and I tried to act bad, act in negative ways, for some reason I was always convicted and corrected because I learned that leadership is not about dictating. Leadership is not about being negative. Leadership is not about power. It's about loving people, caring for people. The first chance I got, I ran out of that nursing home from that DON because I know following a bad leader will only lead you down a bad road. So it's important that as young people, as followers, if we're not leaders yet, to follow leaders and not other followers. I love to talk about the eagles and the chickens because I know that being an eagle is rising above. Being a chicken is staying stuck in the gutter. In college, one time, we had to do a 5-minute impromptu speech. And my 5-minute impromptu speech was hitting the ditch and getting back on the pavement and going straight to victory. And that's how I feel about long-term care. We hit the ditch, we got to get back on the pavement and keep going every single day to victory. We have good days and bad days in life, in long-term care, in everything we do. But as a leader, I've learned that we set the stage for our nursing home. And that's what I try to do every single day. Not perfection, but attempt perfection every single day. Some days I stumble, some days I don't. But I always have the love in my heart, the care and the passion for every single person. I love to tell people that back in the day, as a young DON, I would say the most important people in my building are the residents. It's all about the residents. Today, my story's changed. It's all about the employees. It's all about the people that care for the residents. Because without great people that care and love and are passionate about the residents, we don't have anything. The whole reason coming into a nursing home is to be loved, to be cared for, to have a good quality of life, to be able to live out the golden years, feeling a spirit of love every single day, having good activities, having things to do, just having an overall quality of life. Long life is a blessing, but long life takes a lot of work. I have a friend that her mom used to always say, getting old isn't for sissies. It's not for sissies. And being a caregiver isn't for sissies. We have to work hard, but we have to have heart. My first semester getting into nursing school, the very first day, my professor stood up in front of the whole class and said this: "What is the definition of nursing?" Everybody kind of just looked around. What is the definition of nursing? She said, heart. If you don't have a heart for others, you don't need to be in this classroom today. Because to be a caregiver, to be a nurse, to be in healthcare, you have to have a heart for others. You have to love people. It's plain and simple. As the administrator of my facility, I always love to start the day with self-declarations. We always join in together and we declare who we are. For example, I declare I am focused. I declare I am intentional. I declare I have courage. I declare I have compassion. I declare I am powerful and not pitiful. When we speak to ourselves out loud, speak it, we start to believe that's who we are. We have confidence, we have passion, we have love, and it all starts by loving ourselves first. So every time I say, I am focused, I am intentional, I am powerful and not pitiful, my confidence rises because I know I can do all things with God. I know by faith I can care for as many people as God puts in front of me today. And that's my goal, to get up in the morning, get ready, and care for people. It starts with self-care and it trickles on down to every person in my nursing home every single day. Let's talk about changing the script in long-term care. So many times I hear people talk about bad experiences in long-term care. But don't get me wrong, I hear a lot of good experiences too. Like everything, we have good and bad in everything we do. Not everybody's heart is into what they do every single day. I want to talk about a spirit of unity in long-term care. How do we develop a spirit of unity amongst our staff members, our residents, family members, and everyone in our long-term care community? To me, it's one of the most important assets we could have besides loving people is having a spirit of unity. If we have a spirit of division in our facilities, it causes disarray, it causes frustration, it causes anger, and it doesn't have a peaceful spirit. Unity amongst our staff members, unity amongst our residents, unity amongst our family members, unity in our community is the number one ticket to have a great day in your facility. When you have one team, one vision, residents and staff thrive. When you have unity, everybody has a happy day. Unity is the heartbeat in long-term care. We cannot care for people if we don't have the same heartbeat, the same vision, and the same goal amongst our team members every single day. You see, if we all follow the vision and the goal of our leader, that's unity, and that's when our residents get the best care, and that's when our staff members have peace and joy to come to work. There is nothing more miserable than waking up and going to work in a place that you know is in disarray, has no unity. It makes your life miserable and you end up leaving. I say this all the time. People don't leave companies, people leave people. So it's very important to me as a leader that I have a spirit of unity in our facility every single day, because we don't even have to talk about the staffing crisis in 2025, but we do have a staffing crisis in healthcare. People leave healthcare. I'll go back to it. People leave people, not the company. I remind myself daily, my potential is God's gift to me. What I do with it is my gift to God. The ultimate goal for me as a Christian, as someone who loves the Lord with all my heart, is to hit the pearly gates of heaven and say, "Welcome in, good and faithful servant." That's my goal. So I know that when I care for others, God's chosen, God will take care of me along the way. Adding value to people is not staying focused on yourself, but staying focused on others. Leadership is about others. We have to be selfless. We have to love people that are unlovable. We have to love people when we hurt, we defeated, we don't feel like it, or we don't want to. We have to know that as leaders, it's our job to make everybody feel loved and feel appreciated. Let your leadership be your gift, not just to your team, not just to your residents, but to God. If this message touched you, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where I share short stories from inside my long-term care facility. Remember, leadership isn't just a title, it's a calling. Leadership isn't just a title, it's a calling. So let's answer our calling together, one day at a time.